The noon sun burned low and red above the plains, bleeding heat into the air as Calethorn rode hard across the valley. His black stallion kicked up a trail of dust that shimmered like smoke behind him. He had ridden for 3 days straight from the northern pass, carrying one order and one alone: collect the dead or take the land. The man who owed was Lord Harland, once a proud rancher with herds thick as clouds across the prairie. But drought and sickness had stripped him bare. The letter from his creditors said he'd defaulted for the 3rd time, and the Northern Company was done showing mercy. Cale, their enforcer, was the last word between men and ruin. The farmhouse came into view just before dusk, standing lonely on a slope of dying grass. Its white paint had long peeled to gray, and a thin curl of smoke rose from a crooked chimney. No dogs barked, no cattle grazed, no laughter drifted on the wind. Only silence, broken by the slow creak of Cale's saddle as he drew near. He dismounted, boots crunching on the brittle earth. His shadow stretched long and sharp behind him as he rapped on the door. It opened not to the trembling old man he expected, but to a young woman. She couldn't have been more than 20. Barefoot, her simple dress dust-stained, dark hair falling loose from a braid. Yet there was no fear in her eyes. Only exhaustion, and something fierce beneath it. "You've come for my father," she said quietly. Cale studied her, his jaw set. "I've come for what's owed." "Where is he?" "In bed. He's been sick for weeks. He can't stand, let alone face a man like you." Cale's gaze drifted past her shoulder into the dim interior. A single chair, a dying fire, and the faint shape of a man coughing somewhere deeper in the house. It was a poor sight. But pity wasn't his trade. "I don't have a choice," he said finally. "If the debt isn't paid, the land is forfeit." Her lips trembled, but her voice didn't. "And if you take the land, what becomes of him?" "That's not my concern." The words came hard, but they were habit, armor he'd worn for years. He had taken land from better men and left worse behind. But something in her gaze made the armor crack just a little. She stepped forward, until she stood close enough for him to see the tremor in her hands. "If you take this place, he won't last the week. It's all he's got left." Cale shifted his weight, uneasy. "You think I haven't heard that before? Every man begs mercy when the price comes due." "I'm not begging for him," she said. Her voice was steady now, low but certain. "I'm asking you. Don't make him see it happen. Take me instead." The words struck him like a shot. For a moment he thought he'd misheard. "What did you say?" She swallowed hard, eyes glistening but unbroken. "You came to take something, didn't you? The land, the stock, whatever you want. Well, take me. I'll go with you. I'll work, serve, do whatever you ask. Just spare him." The wind sighed across the open field, whispering through the brittle stalks of grass. Cale stood frozen. He had heard every plea a man could hear. Lies, bargains, threats, but never one like this. Her voice carried no trick, no self-pity. Only love. "What's your name?" he asked at last. "Alara." He nodded slowly, his throat tightening against words he didn't expect to feel. He looked past her once more, to the dim figure of the old man coughing in the shadows. Cale was a man bound to orders, and mercy was not written in any of them. But as the sun sank and the sky bled into gold, something inside him shifted. He should have taken the deed then and there, mounted up, and ridden away. Yet when he looked at Alara, at the quiet fire in her eyes and the way her hands shook as she fought for her father, he found his fingers refusing to reach for his satchel. Instead, he said softly, "Let me see him." Alara blinked in surprise, then stepped aside. As Cale crossed the threshold, the last light of day caught his face, hard as stone, yet uncertain for the first time in years. Outside, the stallion waited, restless in the fading sun. Inside, the enforcer of debts stepped into a house where mercy dared to speak. And in that moment, though neither knew it yet, everything began to change. The night was still as glass. A single candle burned on the table, its light trembling against the worn walls of the farmhouse. The air smelled of wood smoke and old dust, with the faint sweetness of wild sage drifting through the cracks. Cale sat by the fire, hat resting on his knee, the heat from the flames cutting through the evening chill. Across from him sat Alara, her hands folded tightly, eyes lowered but unafraid. In the next room, her father's coughing broke the silence in ragged bursts. Cale had seen men die in saloons, in alleys, on battlefields. He'd seen ranchers watch their homesteads burn for the sake of a few unpaid dollars. But this small, broken house, this quiet girl sitting across from him, it unsettled him more than gunfire ever had. "You shouldn't have said what you did," he said finally, his voice low, roughened by the road. Alara looked up. "I meant it." He frowned. "You'd trade yourself for a man who can't even stand." "He's my father." Her voice carried a strength that startled him. "He worked this land all his life. He buried my mother out by the old oak, swore he'd keep the place until the end. If I let you take it, I might as well bury him next to her tonight." Cale leaned back in the chair, jaw tight. "You think offering yourself fixes that?" "I don't know what it fixes," she said quietly. "But if you ride off with the deed, he'll die knowing everything he built was taken. I can't let him go like that." The candlelight flickered across her face, catching the shimmer of tears she refused to shed. Cale stared at her, caught between duty and something that felt too close to shame. He'd carried out orders 100 times, each one cleaner, easier, because he never looked too close. But Alara didn't let him look away. He stood and crossed to the window. Outside, the moon hung low, silvering the dead fields. The horse shifted restlessly in the yard. Cale's reflection looked back at him from the glass, a man hard-edged and hollow-eyed, shaped by too many wrong choices. He spoke without turning. "You don't know what kind of man you're offering yourself to." "I don't care what kind of man you are," she said. "Only that you spare him." That did it. He turned, eyes narrowing, voice a low growl. "Do you think I want this job? You think I enjoy taking from folks who've got nothing left? I do what I'm told, same as every man trying to survive." Alara rose to her feet. "Then maybe you should stop doing what you're told." The words hit harder than she knew. For a moment, Cale felt the world tilt, the fire popping, the silence after her defiance. He took a slow breath, forcing down the heat that rose in his chest. "You've got courage, I'll give you that. I've got nothing left to lose," she said. Her father coughed again, the sound weaker now. Alara's eyes darted toward the doorway, her composure cracking for just a second. Cale followed her gaze. The old man lay on a cot, sweat shining on his forehead, breath coming shallow and slow. Cale had seen death before. Cold, quiet, inevitable. He'd never thought twice about it. But now, watching that dying man and the daughter who'd stand against a gun for him, something unfamiliar twisted in his gut. He walked to the table, pulled a folded parchment from his coat, and laid it flat. The ink seal of the Northern Company gleamed faintly. His orders were clear. Seize the land, mark the boundaries, deliver the deed. He stared at it for a long time, then reached for his knife. The blade flashed once in the candlelight. With a slow, deliberate motion, he cut the parchment in two. Alara froze. "What are you doing?" "Something I should have done a long time ago." He reached into his satchel and drew out a pencil stub. On the torn half of the parchment, he scrawled rough words in a soldier's hand. "Debt forgiven. Land remains. Tell no one why." He set it on the table, pushed it toward her, and met her eyes. "If anyone asks, say I found nothing worth taking." Alara stared at the words, tears spilling freely now. "Why?" Cale put his hat back on, his voice low. "Because I've taken enough from this world already." He stepped outside, the boards creaking under his boots. The stallion lifted its head, snorting softly as he mounted. The horizon was paling, the first light of dawn spilling over the ridge. As he turned the horse toward the trail, he heard her call his name once, soft, uncertain. He didn't look back. The wind picked up, carrying the scent of sage and rain. For the first time in years, Cale Thorne rode away without taking what he came for. And somewhere behind him, in a quiet farmhouse, a girl knelt by her father's side, whispering through tears not of fear, but of hope.